Superficial scribblings on sexism, superficial scribblings on life. Who the fuck needs criticism when I can always be right? Hello, something persons and other appropriate pronouns that you are comfortable with using other than those oppressive he, she kind of pronouns. I am here once again to tackle these articles. I want to talk to you about how this society is sexist, or about otherwise sexism in general. Notice I have a haircut, because I am transcending the border. I am transcending my own gender. With such lovely gems, such as the article of, "You don't hate feminism, you just don't understand it." Now, I want to make a note here before I go into this. I have already read this. I had taken a whole take on reading the whole thing, but there was some problems on the way. I had to whisper throughout because my roommate was being a complete fucking cunt. I had a call right at the end of the video from work, and it pretty much just a lot of fucking weird handicaps and interruptions. So you're going to see me in my complete ferocity tackling this fucking article this time. And this take will actually be updated. So let's get to it. By Emily Shire. The latest anti-feminism campaign is a Tumblr called Women Against Feminism, but the participants aren't against feminism exactly, they just don't get it. Yes, because a movement called Women Against Feminism clearly aren't against feminism, they just don't understand it. Maybe they should have changed the title to Women Who Don't Understand Feminism. That would have been more suited for your narrative that you're about to conjure up. So, let's get to it. It's never a dull week for feminists, and now Women Against Feminism is the most recent ear du jour. The Tumblr photo collection of women holding signs explaining why they don't need feminism is more annoying than frightening. Well, it is kind of annoying since the feminists also have done this too, explaining why they need fucking feminism. We've got bigger fish to fry, like securing equal pay and ensuring women across the world can attend school without being kidnapped. Okay, if I had a fucking nickel for every time someone misconstrued earning less to getting paid less, I would be a rich motherfucker. To explain the former, Miss Emily, women do get paid the same amount as men. If there happens to be women who aren't getting paid the same amount as men, working the same exact job, working the same amount of hours, there is a law that makes absolute sure that you get paid the same amount as a man, that there's no damn gender discrimination. If there is, you can go to authorities about it. Don't fucking complain to it on a fucking post such as the Daily Beast. And secondly, where in the fuck in the Western world are women getting kidnapped as they're attending school? Are you talking about, like, female children? Because that might have something to do with the pedophiles, and pedophiles aren't fucking men, nor are they sexist. But Women Against Feminism is certainly getting plenty of attention. I wonder fucking why. The Tumblr started in the summer of 2013. The Facebook group, which was created in January 2014, has 12,000 likes, suggesting it appeals to a not insignificant group of people. Women Against Feminism is too easy to lambast. I still don't know what that word means. Many of the reasons these women claim for not needing feminism are embarrassingly bad, and you are going to fail to go into detail about how they're embarrassingly bad. You're just going to say it like as if I should take you on that notion alone. One post that has made the rounds is, "I don't need feminism because I love masculine men like Christian Grey." Tongue face. Oi. Okay, sure. Yeah, the post isn't, the reason for it isn't exactly smart or intelligent, but it is a fucking reason, since most of these feminists want to pretty much say that masculinity in principle is fucking oppression of women, or is sexist towards women, or whatever they're going to fucking say. And I'm assuming Christian Grey is a masculine man, even though, you know, a lot of men are usually just expected to be masculine. So, yeah, sure. The fucking thing isn't intellectual, but considering how often feminists get at men for just being men, yeah, it does not surprise me why somebody would make a reason that straightforward. Feminists read and weep, emphasis on weep. They always fucking weep. It's not the fact that there is criticism against feminism, there is criticism against feminism, but that the criticism is so inane, unintelligent, and useless because of that one fucking quote, right? And that's all you need. You're fucking pulling up straws. You're not going to see the whole perspective, right? I've seen the whole perspective of feminism. So what you need to do is see the whole perspective of the people, the detractors of your fucking little movement. But you're not, because you pull up straws for your argument, and you're going to pull up straws for your defense. Aside from those who mistakenly think feminists want to kill Christian Grey, we don't. We promise we love mommy porn. I'm assuming Christian Grey is a porn star or whatnot. But as I said before, there are a lot of feminists who pretty much, they're feminists who write about wanting to castrate or want to do a like universal, international castration of men, and that they will be congratulated for it. Like they're saying this like as if this is a good thing, and they will kill any men who will refuse to be castrated. They're saying that as if it's a good thing. Many of the women who posted on the Tumblr accuse feminism of thinking things that it is not. Well, there is also the problem that feminism, much like Christianity and Muslim, has a lot of different fucking extremists. You got the fucking radical feminists that pretty much say things like what I just said earlier. You got probably moderate feminists like, I guess, Anita Sarkeesian, who say like fucking, oh, not all men are fucking misogynists, but this game is still, you know, spraying the culture of fucking sexism within the sphere somehow. But yeah, that's the thing. There needs to be a clear definition of feminism. Or at least for your feminism. Yeah, sure, those may be, you know, you probably don't want all men to be fucking castrated internationally, but there are people who identify with feminism and want feminism to do things like that. So, explain to me how people are misconstruing feminism when even the feminists are misconstruing definitions of feminism between people like yourself. Alright. For example, one woman posted, I don't need feminism because I believe that men and women are equal, not that women should belittle men. Pretty fucking legitimate. Those posts hurt a bit more because they reveal how deeply misinterpreted feminism is. No, it shows how fucking crazy feminism is, because feminism wants to put women on a pedestal. They always say we're for equal rights, but they don't go into detail about, you know, prison, or about the fact that, you know, divorce custody always falls in favor of the woman than the man. And not to mention that feminists have pretty much made rape hysteria pretty much a common notion, with fucking females afraid of any man being a potential fucking rapist. Anyhow, let's just keep going. I reached out to Women Against Feminism to learn about the origins of their campaign. Below is the email response I received. Hi, thank you, but we respectfully decline. We are familiar with the DB and its slant. We don't expect to get fair treatment. The media has been pretty insulting and childish so far, so we're just sticking to our own self-expression through social media. Thank you, Mel. It's funny because the media is exactly the people that have been propagating this feminism to continue to exist. Because feminism likes to get its little tendrils on everything, on gamer culture, on atheist culture, but they don't know what to fucking do with it once they've controlled it, because They're not there for atheism or gaming. They just want to put their fucking ideologues everywhere. That's why, fucking people say that fucking Depression Quest is a non-game, because Zoe Quinn is making a game based on the notion that fucking games are somehow sexist. So she's trying to make one, by her notion, not sexist. But pretty much turns out to be not a game. That, games aren't for fucking fun. They're just supposed to be of complete misery. But I'm still pretty fucking doubtful that this fucking email was made, or was even true at all, since this person had links to their movement and their post, but apparently not of the email somehow. When I told Mel I wanted to give her organization a chance to share their story and motive, she wrote back, "I think the photos speak for themselves." I could have argued with Mel 6 ways a Sunday about why she was wrong about both the feminist movement and our publication, but I realized there wasn't a point. For starters, aren't you going to tell us how, are you going to show those 6 ways a Sunday about how she was wrong about the feminist movement? She was too turned off by the media and by a self-declared feminist to even talk about her organization. How? I mean, she said the photos speak for themselves. She's not like, oh, I refuse to talk to you about your fucking little movement. At all. And like I said before, media is supporting feminism. So clearly, these women are also turned off by the media, trying to say that there's some kind of fucking stereotype or some kind of fucking sexism and prejudice against women in the Western world culture. I am not going to deny there's sexism in the Middle East or India or China, because I can see it. I can see it for myself. Whatever. The response showed a weakness in the Women Against Feminism leadership, and it confirmed my suspicions that the movement was more gimmicky than substantive. Gimmicky, like it was just a fucking little toy, huh? When this feminist fucking feminazi social justice whiners came around. And just because one person supposedly gave you a disingenuous thing to say does not mean that that person represents the leadership. Yeah, sure, she was a person to respond to your email about the movement, but I can see that if this post was genuine, if this post was not genuine, that you wanted to create one to make it seem as though Women Against Feminism is not substantive at all based on one fucking email. But I don't want to jump on the Women Against Feminism pile-on, because that's what drove women to it in the first, and it just period. I'm assuming she forgot first place. There is no question that Women Against Feminism is early and completely misguided in its understanding of what feminism is, as well as the feminists, because you motherfuckers don't want to go into details. If you told us what your definition of feminism is, I would see how they're somewhat misguiding your feminism, but other people can represent your feminism, including radicals, including extreme people. Just like people who I play with Team Fortress 2, or people who play Team Fortress 2 can make their own points about how great that game is. Yeah. And that, I fucking play it too, but that they don't represent my experience with Team Fortress 2. I mean, yeah, sure, they play the same thing, they enjoy it and whatnot, but I have a different experience from it. But they aren't the only ones. Feminism gets a bad rap, and people perceive the movement as meaning somehow something very narrow and specific and negative. Well, it is somewhat vague in what exactly feminism wants, but usually feminism tears towards putting women on a pedestal for the most part. And that is negative because it's sexist. The feminist movement is inherently sexist. I don't care what fucking feminist says about being for equal rights, because when you tell them what equal rights, they will always more than likely will say, oh, we want women to have equal pay over men, even though they already have equal pay. So where the fuck are you going to, how are you going to solve a problem that's already been solved? An April 2013 poll found just 16% of men and 23% of women in America identify as feminists, and that's apparently a bad thing? The women behind Women Against Feminism are exactly a minority, obviously. However, that same poll found 82% of all Americans agree with the statement men and women should be social, political, and economic equals, and they are. Case fucking closed. So where's the fucking problem here? That's the simplest and most accurate definition of feminism, but the movement has come to be seen as anti-men, liberal, radical, pro-choice, and many other things that it is not. And you still have got to go into detail what exactly feminism is defined by your standards. But by my standards of feminism, it is anti-men, it is liberal, it is radical, but not pro-choice. It is definitely not pro-choice, since they want to force women into working jobs that pay more, so, they can say, oh yeah, now the fucking pay gap is somehow equal by doing that. But, that woman is forced to work a job that she either doesn't know how to work or doesn't like the job. It doesn't come clear to these fucking feminists that some women just work jobs that pay less than men because they want to, not because, men want to bring women down at all. Women are perfectly fine with running positions of power or working in a construction site or fucking doing taxes. They just don't want to. They just simply don't want to. They can do it. Just because women happen not to be as prolific in the jobs such as construction and seats of power does not mean that they absolutely cannot be interested in it. They can be. It just happens to be there's not as many. That's not sexist at all. It's just fucking biology. You're pretty much just against biology, essentially. As the Women Against Feminism posts show, many of the declarations stem from a place that feminism conveys preferential for women at a loss to sons, brothers, fathers, and friends. That isn't feminism. Yes, it is. But many people falsely believe that is the effect of it. Well, I wonder why. Because the term feminism seems to be more specific, gender specific. Like, it's supposed to be tailored towards females. How can you be, I'm probably taking this quote from Amazing Atheist, but how can you be for the rights of both if you can only represent one side of that spectrum? You're only going to represent the females. You're not going to go into detail about the men that get raped, or the men that are in prison, or the men that don't have an equal footing in divorce custody because they're men, or about how many more homeless men there are than women. You're not going to go into that. You're only concerned about the females. So how are people falsely accusing that when the term itself is inherently sexist? Anyhow, let's look at this lovely little photo. I don't need feminism because I like men when men say compliments about my body. And that's perfectly alright for her. Okay? That's perfectly alright for her to like compliments from men. We don't need fucking LSR telling us that fucking compliments need consent, that we need to ask fucking permission because people are so fucking scared that somebody's going to sexually or fucking rape them that they think even a fucking compliment could possibly be a gateway drug to rape. God damn. Think of all the female celebrities who have gone out of their way to declare themselves not feminists and the reasons for doing so. Katy Perry had previously, I am not feminist, but I do believe in the power of women. She recently changed her mind and declared she was feminist because it just means that I love myself as a female and I also love men. Platitudes, platitudes, platitudes. pretty much means the same as the previous one, instead including men. While Perry was mocked for her admittedly space cadet sounding response, she hit on a point that is often lost in the misperception of feminism. I think he meant misconception of feminism. As most core basic level, feminism about equality between the sexes is not advancing one over the other. No, it is not. Yes, by your definition, that's not what it is, but other people's definitions, the core majority of it, as well as the inherent term, is about advancing one over the other. Okay? What do you think fucking feminism is about? Both sexes or females? Does the term strike to you somehow as being something that is completely gender neutral or just gender blind? Anyhow, people do not realize you can be a feminist and pro-life. Yeah, you can be a feminist and a stay-at-home mom. You can be a feminist and disagree with the birth control mandate of Obamacare. You can be a feminist and not advocate drinking your own menstrual blood. Hey, by the way, I can be for equality and not also happen to be feminist. How about that, huh? I can be for pro-life and not be a feminist. I can be a stay-at-home mom and not be a feminist. Or, well, a feminist and a stay-at-home mom, since even though feminists always get on about how that stay-at-home mom thing is just a stereotype that society wants fucking moms to just fucking stay at home all the time because that's just what they're expected to do. Unabashed feminist author Caitlin Moran lampooned women who do not identify as feminists in her book How to Be a Woman. And from that title alone, I can definitely tell that how Caitlin Moran will go into detail about how to be a woman is, believe in the narrative, believe in the lie. But in her criticism, she stressed that women who don't identify as feminists don't realize what feminism implies, nor all that feminism has secured for them. Because even though feminists keeps fucking talking about the pay gap, even though there's no pay gap, or that the actual fucking pay gap just happens to be females who don't want to work higher paying jobs or as many hours of the same job as a man. What do you think feminism is, ladies? What part of liberation for women is not for you? Is it freedom to vote, even though they have the freedom to vote? The right not to be owned by the man you marry? They're not owned by the man you marry. There are a shit ton of women who are single. The campaign for equal pay, and as I said before, nothing to do with that, because people already have equal fucking pay. Did all that good shit get on your nerves, or were you just drunk at the time of survey? I think the feminists were the ones who were drunk at the survey, since none of these things seem to be getting on the nerves of the women who aspire to say, yeah, they're still empowered, that they're fine with fucking men complimenting them, because they're not a bunch of fucking whiny little self-entitled pricks who get upset from a fucking troll comment. Feminism has a clear PR problem, but mocking women against feminism isn't the solution. This campaign is an easy target, but painting these women as a bunch of ignorant, outrageous, self-hating women proves their point, which pretty much invalidates the entirety of this fucking article. Because pretty much you're giving them more fucking fire to their fuel. Because if you're pretty much going to relegate women against feminism as pretty much a bunch of trolls, then the objective of women winning is not to play. Is not to fucking attack these people in the first place. Or say that they're fucking ignorant and outrageous and self-hating. By the way, how are they self-hating if they are still empowered without fucking feminism? How do they hate themselves? I think it's the feminists who hate themselves. And women. Grace Chapman at Vigenda precisely articulated the problem of getting angry at women against feminism. She compared it to her own experience finding a woman who declared herself not a feminist. She recalled how the other woman's face hardened in quiet confidence that she had just been proven right, that we feminists were all the same, shouty, elitist, and actually a little bit mean. Men haters and blamers, women victimizers and blamers. Kalia. And that's from her perspective. But of course, you don't understand why she's against it, because since she's a female, you think obviously she's going to be in support of it. You don't fucking see her as a human, you just see her as a fucking gender. That she by the principal virtue of having tits and a fucking cunt, or a vagina, will just side by with you, with your stupid fucking ideologue, by the notion of her fucking genitalia. And that's where we come to the problem here. That you think that she's going to be siding by with you just because of that, but by that notion alone. If I said some horribly fucking redundant shit, and then told men that they should side by with me because I'm for them and they just don't understand, and that by the virtue of them having the same body parts that I have, that they obviously should be siding by me. That's how fucking ridiculous it is. Mocking women against feminism validates their argument that they don't belong in the movement and affirms their belief that feminism has no space for them. We, and by we, I mean feminists, need to be the bigger person in this battle by, completely misconstruing their fucking points and saying that they don't fucking understand because they're women, they should believe your fucking lie anyway. Or just saying, yeah, they pretty much proved their point. We have nothing better to say. We're giving them the fuel to the fire, but we're going to pretend like we fucking won in this onset. We need to make every effort to promote feminism as a big tent movement, and we need to admit that it doesn't always appear so welcoming. But yet to go into detail of what feminism actually entails from the perspectives of each and every single person who identifies with feminism. So you're pretty much just going to make the term even more vague. So, you're going to hug all the fucking equalists and humanists who more than likely don't want to associate with feminism, but you're going to, wrap them around. Because when I say, oh, I care about everyone's equal rights, you're going to say, oh, I must be a feminist because you're for the same rights too. But here's the thing, the ends don't justify the means. Your means to do so are different from my means to do so, and the ends kind of end up that your perfect world of equality is having fucking men castrated. I mean, yeah, that's from the radical feminist perspective, but it's all pretty much a perspective. Ideologues are pretty much flawed. As Chapman writes, in order for feminism to be truly powerful, it needs to be accessible and engaging to everyone, and at the moment it's just not yet, and not ever. Especially if you're going to just try to streamline it to every person who just even blurts something about equality. Women against feminism and like-minded opponents try to distort the meaning of feminism by saddling the movement with unnecessary limiting prerequisites. And the feminists will still continue not to give it a really defined thing, a defined term. It's like, it would be like if atheists went out against fucking Christianity because of all these things, and Christians like, oh, those other Christians, no, they don't represent our movement. But it's even more ridiculous because they're just going to say, oh, well, our fucking atheist opponents are just trying to distort the meaning of Christianity by saddling the movement with unnecessary limiting prerequisites, like Christians who fucking defend people of the Vatican molesting little boys. Because, yeah, they repented for it right after, so they're obviously forgiven. Feminists, we shouldn't bite at their baiting. Instead, we should use women against feminism constructively, but not as a legitimate criticism, which is certainly not. It is a wake-up call for how poorly misunderstood our movement is. Just as we need to continue to advocate for equality between the sexes, we also need to remind women and men what feminism entails, rather than let our opponents claim to define the movement for us. And in conclusion, you did not do that at all. You're just going to say, oh, we need to make a definition, but I'm not going to give you my definition of feminism. And how is it you are going to make constructive criticism towards a movement without baiting them? Because Giving them constructive criticism is baiting them. You can't not play the game of trolling without some kind of reaction, whether it is a indirect fucking critique of them or not. So, like I did with the other take, I am going to read the comments below because they're a little bit more thought out than mine is, since I'm doing a reactionary little rant. Anyhow, for hard 6. If feminists want more people to identify as feminists, then they should probably get their act together and decide what feminism actually is. You say we can be stay-at-home moms yet still be feminists, but I can point out feminist blogs that say otherwise. You say people can be pro-life and still feminists, yet again I can point to blogs that say otherwise. We, the people who refuse to self-identify as feminists, should not be your first priority. It seems to me your first priority is getting everyone to agree on what feminism is, because until you do that, it's just a bunch of mostly women with internet connections contradicting themselves over and over again. Valid point. Lady Di, I'm not going to read that one. But this one is a great one. Joe the Porpoise 1369. You aren't against racism, you just don't understand it. Yeah, okay. Securing equal pay. Ever considering earning equal pay? Just a shot in the dark. Thought it might also earn you some respect. Don't know if you're into actually being respected. You are, after all, apparently a feminist. WAF is easy to lambast? Sure, by choosing the dumbest possible post. Then again, feminism is easy to lambast by choosing the smartest posts, articles, videos, etc. The entirety of feminism is a low-hanging fruit. Here's an example of a common enough feminist sentiment. I need feminism because people still ask why I need feminism. Basically, when it comes to stupid reasons, you live in a glass house. I could have argued with Mel 6 ways to Sunday about why she was wrong about both the feminist movement and our publication, but I realized there wasn't a point. Yeah, I've seen feminist argumentation. It's not all that strong. You've got a narrative that says that women are every bit as capable as men in every way, but are somehow oppressed the world over in ways too numerous to list, and they have been for thousands of years. Y'all can't even agree with yourselves. Arguing with feminists is basically the same as arguing with young earth creationists. You say that feminism gets a bad rap, but the book responsible for reporting on common usage, the dictionary, one of many dictionaries, but why quibble, has an almost universally positive assessment of feminism. That's the simplest, most accurate definition of feminism, but the movement has come to be seen as anti-man, liberal, radical, pro-choice, and many other things that it is not. Then obviously, since these people are judging feminism by their experience of self-proclaimed feminists, the problem is that damn near all of the self-proclaimed feminists are not, in fact, feminists according to your interpretation of your favorite definition. Basically, you either have people judge feminism by the self-proclaimed feminists, or you have to prove that you're really this nice, sane, equality movement that you claim feminism is. Even if I agree that feminism is just about equality, and that's lovely, you still have to prove that you are a feminist, and you won't be able to do that, mostly because damn near all self-proclaimed feminists push for the hatred of men. But in her criticism, she stressed that women who don't identify as feminists don't realize what feminism implies, nor all that feminism has secured for them. This is why so many anti-feminists, starting out with a concession of feminism's past contributions to women's rights. So, screw the abundant, in-your-face evidence that your statement is wrong, just run with whatever comes to mind. Typical. That campaign for equal pay would that also include equal work, equal starting conditions, equal negotiation for starting salary? You feminists are too easy. Yeah, feminism has a clear PR problem. Yeah, the feminists. That's the PR problem. Too many of them don't seem to understand this pie-in-the-sky fantasy you have of what feminism is supposed to be about. This campaign is an easy target, but painting these women as a bunch of ignorant, outrageous, self-hating women proves their point. Well then, their point has been proven. They're correct. You just destroyed almost your entire post. Well done. We need to make every effort to promote feminism as a big tent movement, and we need to admit that it doesn't always appear so welcoming. As Chapman writes, in order for feminism to be truly powerful, it needs to be accessible and engaging to everyone. And it's just a quote. Well, you should start by not blaming everything on straight white cis men. I know it's kind of a leap. Good luck with that. Wonder why these things only have one response. Well, there's more, but... So, that's pretty much it. Post about wanting to... supposedly attacking the women against feminism pulling up fucking straws and then saying that, oh, attacking them proves their point. So they pretty much prove their point by attacking them for like 3/4 of the entire post. So, congratulations. I've never seen contradictions go so fucking obvious or hilariously like these before. Am I still white, male, cisgum, privileged, fucker, whatever fucking adjective these feminists want to label me with? Probably so. Maybe the next episode may change my mind. I did get a haircut after all. See you guys later.